Welcome to Supernatural Stories. For today, we have a story from Siti who have black magic sent to her from her ex-husband, and the ghost she encountered was the Pocong. But before we start the story, let's hear a word from our partner, starting from 0.0 spreads. Yes, 0.0 spreads. I'm talking about IC Markets, our preferred trading partner for 4 years. If you are a trader who's tired of high spreads with other brokers, use IC Markets. From spread as low as 0.0 with fast order execution, powerful trading terminals, and multiple global markets at your fingertips. Also, introduce IC Social, where you can communicate, chat, and learn from other traders. Click the link below to start to create your IC Markets account now and take trading to new heights. Use the code 51393. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3 and start trading with IC Markets. Okay, so the story starts here. Hi, my name is Siti, and this is my paranormal story after having a divorce from my husband. My husband and I before marriage was really the love of my life. I could not stand a day without him. I was so attached to him until the thought of him going away sent me down to a spiraling depression. So when we get married, everything was fine. It was perfect. Fast forward 2 years later, I realized some days my husband came back home around 11 p.m. but usually he ends work at 6. So I asked him, why do he come back so late? And what he replied was OT. So I believed him. Suddenly, when he was sleeping, I saw a text from another girl texting him about how much fun they had together. The next morning, I asked him who was the other girl who was texting him. He said nothing and slammed the door out to go to work. Suddenly, in the middle of the day, he texted me saying he will not be coming home and he will be staying at his mother's house because work is near her house. So on and so forth happened. I realized that he was cheating on me with another girl. So after knowing this and having proof, I told him off. He ignored me and filed for a divorce. After all that, he left and he was finally out of my life because I do not want to hold the pain. So the scary part starts here. I was alone in the house, cleaning the dishes. Suddenly, bam, bam, there was knocking on my house door. When I opened the door, there was no one. After a while, I closed the door. Then, bam, bam, bam. The same thing happened again, but this time it was louder. So at this point, I was a bit scared to open the door, but still curious. I slowly opened the door, seeing if there's anyone outside. And I look right, and I look left. And when I look at the ground, what I see is soil. Fresh soil, like something from the graveyard. At that point, I was thinking like, where did this come from? But maybe it was my neighbor because my house is in the middle of the corridor. So, after realizing it, I suddenly felt a strong gush of wind hit me, as if it went through me. At that point, I suddenly got chills down my spine. So, I quickly slammed the door shut and went back to the kitchen. So, when I'm at the kitchen, I just continued washing my plates. At that point, I did not try to think much, so I just keep washing my plates. When suddenly, I hear... Then suddenly, it was louder. At that point, I was so shocked. I dropped the plates, and when the thing fell on the floor, it shattered with glass all over the place. Quickly, I take the broom because I'm in shock and try to sweep it into the dustpan. While sweeping, I suddenly saw a white figure jumping from the corner of the corridor in my house to another side like this. Bounce, bounce. When I saw that, I was so shocked I fell to the floor and my heartbeat is racing. Suddenly, I can see that white figure peeking behind the wall. And suddenly he went back behind the wall, and then I can hear more jumping noise and grunting. At that point, my eyes was already shut after I saw the thing peeking at me. But then I opened my eyes again to see if the thing is still there, because there was a moment of silence. When I opened my eyes, I saw nothing, but then the jumping noise came. When suddenly I see the thing peek at the side of the wall to look at me. At that point, I fainted. When I woke up, it was just 2 hours later. I quickly called my parents and asked them if I could stay at their house. They asked me what happened. I said nothing happened, just let me stay at your house. So I went over to their house and stayed with them, and finally I told them what happened. So the following day, my parents called a spiritual healer to come to my house to clear it up. Maybe there's bad omen, maybe there's bad aura, or maybe it's just bad luck. So my parents called the spiritual healer to cleanse the house. And when he was at the house, he did some prayers, he cleansed it well. And for the next few days, when I come back to my house and stayed there for 2 to 3 nights, nothing happened. At that point, I thought it was maybe my imagination. But soon, I know what I saw was real. And there is more spiritual things that happened to me as I am being haunted by more ghosts. Watch the next week episode of Supernatural Stories. Like my stories, subscribe, and share your own stories with us. Send us an email and share this video with everyone on Facebook or with your friends. So, thanks for watching Supernatural Stories. Like, subscribe, and see you next week with part 2. IC Markets, if you trade, it's linked in the description. Just click it there. And good night.